What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Lexi J Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Lexi Johnson. This is my husband and co-host, Brett Johnson. This week, we've got an episode of Are You In, Are You Out? And we were literally like racking our brains trying to think of controversial things that, you know, you may not already know our stance on, but also not so controversial that you may not, you know, be up in arms about it. So it's a tough line to walk. It took us a lot longer to come.
Tightrope walk.
It really is. So we've got some good ones for you. I'm excited. And we did not discuss our stances on this at all beforehand. So we have two more so like heavy hitters and one is a little bit lighter. Mm-hmm. We'll sandwich the light one. Okay. So the first one, actually, yeah, we'll do the first one. Okay. Are you in or out on aliens being real?
I'm in.
You're in? That was so fast. I didn't know this about you. Okay, go.
So I think one of the biggest reasons why people have this like predisposition that aliens just, you know, that's a fairy tale, that's a myth, is because they envision the Hollywood version of an alien, like a green little squirt looking thing with little pointy ears that stick out the side of their head, or like an ET figure, you know?
Yeah. Like
an extraterrestrial figure that just seems unfathomable, like this, you know, this Hollywood mythical creature. But I think it's a little naive to assume that we're literally the only life form on any planet. I mean, think of all the planets and all the galaxies, and we are just a blip on the radar in terms of everything else that's out there. So I think that it's a little naive to assume that we, again, are the only life form.
Yeah, a little egocentric of us. I am also in on aliens. It kind of freaks me out to think about it too much. But you're so right. Like, I just feel like it's not statistically, it doesn't make sense for us to be the only ones. However, this is my hot take. You mentioned lots of other planets. This is a conversation Stacey Irvin and I had over this past weekend, and he brought it to my attention. So I think it's on to something here. Where, what is the one thing that you say, like, that you look for on another planet when you're looking for living things?
Water.
Do you know how much of the ocean that we have not discovered? How much of the ocean that has not been researched?
90%.
So much. So
a lot of it.
When you think, and again, it's like the Hollywood thing, you think about aliens up in the sky, but I'm like, he brought that up and I was like, shoot, I think you're onto something. Yeah. There's so much of the ocean that we have no idea. We have not even scratched the surface of. And if you're always talking about you have to look for living things where there's water, there's so much water there.
It's true. It's very true.
Kind of freaky. Yeah. And definitely makes me have a healthy fear of the ocean even more. With the submarine stuff being, I think that, what would you, like, the scariest situation for you be? I'm pretty sure being, like, stranded on the ocean at night would be the scariest thing possible.
Yeah, I've been on water a lot, but we're talking like lakes, and I've been like on big lakes, but the ocean's a different animal. Like, it's a whole different animal. Like, the human mind can hardly comprehend, like, truly, like, what some of the like the deepest parts of the ocean actually include. I mean, there's no visibility. I mean, you can't hardly fathom, like, what all is happening down there, because one, you can't see it and nobody's ever seen it before, but it's hard to really just grasp, like, how far beneath you things are existing.
Yeah, it gives you like the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
It's very squirmy.
And the unknown has always been something that is scary to people, because it's your mind starts racing. You know, you start thinking of all the scary things, and yeah, I think that the ocean is kind of that in a nutshell. It's just this big scary thing because of the unknown.
Yeah. So anyway, hot take. I think that there may be aliens in the ocean.
There's certainly living things down there that have not been discovered.
Now, this is okay. So this is kind of interesting. What would the difference between an alien and just an animal that we've never discovered be?
See, alien is such a broad term, and that's also, I think, a little off-putting, because whenever you say, do you believe in aliens, like, again, immediately the mind goes to, like, E.T., like that sort of
cartoon movie.
Yeah,
type
that kind of
scenario.
figure.
Yeah.
So I guess life form, you know, a different life form than what we are, you know, on a different planet. Like, they're...
Okay, so is the the hook there, the aliens have to exist outside of Earth, because
Yeah,
there are so many different, like,
we're
life.
not talking like an animal or like, you know, some sort of amphibious creature. Like, I'm not talking about that like on our planet. I'm talking on a different planet, like different galaxy.
Okay.
Now,
I don't know what's happening
I'm not
out
saying
there.
they're doing and saying the same things that we're doing, and they're existing how we exist,
There's
and
an
they
alien,
have the same.
Lexi and Brett recording an episode somewhere in another galaxy.
Well, I mean, I think, I don't know. It's hard. There could very well be some, life form that's farther advanced than we are, I guess. But I mean, I think it's unlikely. But
my heart rate literally speeds up just thinking about the possibilities. I'm like looking over your shoulder at the Michael Jordan jersey, and I'm like, there's an alien Michael Jordan. I wonder if the human Michael Jordan is better. That's why I can't even go down that rabbit hole, because there's just, my brain would squirrel.
yeah, it's just really, it's hard to get to that point where you like generally accept it in your mind that it's very possible that there's some other life form out there.
I don't really watch news at all. However, I feel like, wasn't there like recent?
There was something in
There
the
was
news,
something where
yeah.
there was
There's always
alien
something out there
presented.
like towards Nevada or something.
Well, I can't. Again, I don't keep up with the news. I don't watch it. It bums me out so much. But I remember seeing something, and it was like on Instagram or Twitter, where I get any sort of, someone I follow is sharing a news source. And it was like a court case that someone had presented, like a researcher had presented some sort of like alien life force.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm in on him.
Yeah.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit, but I'm in.
Yeah, an alien is something different to everybody, but generally speaking, yeah, I'm in.
Okay, so the next one is more of a fashion decision. Are you in or out on Crocs? Are you rocking and crocking?
I am out on Crocs because I never wear them. I did have Crocs at one point in time, but I didn't wear them often.
What color were they?
They're black.
Okay,
It was very basic.
All right.
But I truly could not get on board with it. It wasn't comfortable. Like, your toes are always hitting on rubber at the end. Like, that's a very uncomfortable thing to me. And it's like your mobility in them is restricted. And I didn't want to put them in 4x4 mode, like put the strap back, and thought it looked goofy. So,
But the all-terrain
mode.
Yeah. Listen, my plantar fasciitis could never. That's just the plain truth. I am out on Crocs because I have horrible, horrible arches and a heel spur that does not quit. So I am like always wearing very, very comfortable and supportive shoes. I had Crocs at one point just because it was like a very easy to slip on after practice type thing, like in junior high. And I think that was my last experience with Crocs.
Yeah. They made a comeback though.
They're everywhere. You and I went to Worlds of Fun like last month, and 90% of the kids walking around Worlds of Fun had Crocs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
I think all of my nieces and nephews wear them.
Like, what year was that whenever they first came out and they were like such a big thing?
Oh gosh, I feel like I was like in junior high.
Yeah,
so
I'm thinking it was like maybe elementary.
Maybe.
I'm thinking that whenever I was in like 4th or 5th or 6th grade.
So like early 2000s.
Yeah, probably. I can't remember like the correlation between like what your age is and what grade you're in, but yeah.
Good for Croc. Yeah, I don't have anything necessarily against him. My arches for sure would, though. Maybe if Crocs and Hoka had a partnership, I could get on board. Those shoes would be
Croca.
hideous, though. They would make people croca. Yeah, they'd be ugly. All right.
Hoka's, in all honesty, are not a great looking shoe, but
Yeah, I mean, they look kind of like Skechers shape-ups, but
yeah, it's like you
I've
put
worn
a
them for
boat
so
under
long
your
that
foot.
I feel like I was early on the Hoka gang because my feet are so bad.
Oh, you definitely were. Yeah.
I have pictures of myself wearing Hokas like 5 years ago.
You were a Hoka girl before it was cool.
Yeah. I'll be a Hoka girl long after they're gone. Okay, our last one is a little deeper, and I still haven't yet formed an opinion, so I want to hear yours first.
Okay.
Are you in or out on... Okay, first off, let me preface this by saying that this is not like anything spiritual, religious, or anything like that. It's not that serious. We're just talking about the existence living forever. Are you
Just
in or
to-
out on like living forever would be pleasurable?
No, I'm out.
You're out.
Yeah. So initial thoughts, like there's just, because life is a finite thing, like I think that there's a certain amount of gratitude that comes along with that. Like once you learn to have an appreciation for life itself,
That's beautiful.
because if it's an infinite thing, then it's kind of a supply and demand equation, you know. If there's an infinite supply of it, there's a lot less demand, so you want it a lot less. And if you know that you're just going to be here forever, then what's the, then it's kind of like, like YOLO, like that was such a thing for a while. Like you only live once. And again, you're only going to live for so long. Like that's a super douchey and tacky thing, I think that we went through. But I mean, it's true. Like it gives you a certain appreciation for your time here. And sometimes it hits, at certain times in life, and sometimes it hits at different phases of your life. Like you have the realization that time is your time here on earth is temporary, and everything is temporary. So you start to have this different viewpoint on life itself. And I don't think you would have that at all, without knowing that this is a finite thing.
I think that's such a beautiful way of approaching the question, because I approached it, I'm also out. I don't think that it would be pleasurable or enjoyable to live forever. But I was thinking of like all the negatives. So I love that you spun it in like this life that I'm living right now. Like I'm so grateful for it because I know that like tomorrow's not promised. I was thinking, I'm like, man, I don't want to have to pay taxes every year forever. I don't want to have to do this.
That's true. I can't argue it.
Like, would you still go into menopause at a normal age and then you would just be in menopause forever?
I'm out. I don't know if we're getting to the depth of this, like where it becomes plausible that you could live forever, so therefore your anatomy changes.
When I live forever, when does it stop? When do I stop aging?
Like the biological effects on your body are delayed.
93 years old and I'm just riding that body out forever?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you age?
Is it Edward Cullen?
Well, if time is infinite, then you wouldn't age.
But when does it stop?
But yeah, you don't come. This is kind of a mind F. You just have to start thinking about like, how does your body age if time is infinite? Because you don't come out a whole ass adult.
Like, could I live forever from like 27? Because I'm good with the body I'm in, with the health I'm in, but like,
yeah.
So, I still don't want to live forever here.
Yeah, we're talking like, even if we're talking biblical times, we're talking about 900 some years old. Like that seems like an infinite amount of time, but there's still an end.
Scratching the surface. You're just getting started.
We're just getting warmed up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out. I am so far out. I think that I'll live.
It's truly hard to grasp.
A relatively long and happy life, and then I'll say see you later.
Yeah, I would circle back to I suppose like my initial thought.
Yeah, yours was a lot more thought provoking and sweet. I like that.
Well, I mean, it's not
here.
intended.
I am like trying to think of the logistics. I'm like, am I gonna have a period forever? Like
the very real, applicable things that are gonna take place. Yeah, no, But I think that just thinking about life itself, that's what it makes me think of, and like that's a great, it's kind of a good reminder,
mm-hmm.
that what we have is special. And that it's important that you don't just take it for granted, because time is finite. And if you had the alternative, then everybody always looks and says the grass is always greener, and you always wish you were in a different situation than you're in right now. But like if you truly put, on the shoes and that different spot, and you start thinking about what it would be like in that situation, like I wouldn't want time to be infinite.
No. Me either.
I think that would be kind of a miserable existence, because it's like,
yeah, like
if your viewpoint on life is that life is horrible, it's like, okay, well, life's always going to be horrible, and there's nothing greater ever coming. That's kind of like why, like on a whole different topic of conversation, why I think I had the spiritual beliefs that I do, because I think that this is all, there's got to be something bigger and greater than what we're experiencing right now. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't make sense to me that there's not something else. This is all way too complex for there not to be a greater force. Otherwise, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just kind of thinking about this being a very funny follow-up to the Croc situation we just discussed. Man, this was a roller coaster.
We did sandwich the not so serious topic right in the middle.
Yeah. No, but I love your approach to it. I think that's beautiful. It does give you a much more appreciative viewpoint of how special this time is right now. Like, it is. It's an opportunity every single day, and that's special.
It's true. It's very true.
All right, that was 3. Do you have any closing statements about your stances?
If you have any other in or out topics, because in or out topics, again, they are a tightrope walk. Like, it can't be...
They're kind of tricky.
It can't be something that isn't even like a conversational topic, but it can't be something that is like so divisive that we're going to get people like showing up with pitchforks at our front door. So... if you have any suggestions, feel free to submit them along with any other questions that you might have for the Q&A episodes.
I got a lot of feedback that people like the in and out episodes just because they like to hear our perspectives and things. But yeah, it's tough to choose ones that are going to be entertaining enough, but also not like very divisive, like you said. So hopefully those 3 did the trick, but I hope you guys have a great week. If you need anything or if you have any topics, you can always email us at
pod@lexijwellness.com.
But until then, we'll talk to you next Wednesday.